4.4 is all about cities and states in the US and also some provinces and cities in Canada, which I'll touch on those a little bit. But before getting to those, they go over directions like on a compass. And with these signs, the palm orientation might be different depending on the signer, so just keep that in mind. Think of a compass, 4 directions: north, south, east, west, or whichever order you learned it in. Never eat soggy wall. Anyways, so think of a compass. North, do a modified N, north. For south, I've seen it with a few different palm orientations. So do an S. I've seen it palm out or palm in, but those can also mean every Saturday. So your context is always important. My English won't English today, but anyways, or south. This is the one that they're doing on what's the sign. South. East, do an E, and you're going to your right. I sign left-handed, so when I go to my right, my arm goes across my body. If you don't sign left-handed, your arm shouldn't be across your body. East to the right, west, do a W and go to the left. Then we have northeast, northwest, northeast, northwest, or one of the signers does northwest, southeast, southeast, southwest, or southwest. And again, palm orientation, it just varies from signer to signer. Then we have center. I added a few signs in. Some of them are a review, but live, this one is a review. Live. Born, either born or born. From, both hand shapes are ones. Non-dominant, palm out, dominant, palm in and behind, and you're pulling your dominant index finger to an X. From. State, dominant hand is an S, state. With the different states, they can be broken up into categories. The program breaks them up into more categories than I do. I typically break them up into 4 categories. The first one, states that have a sign. The second, shorter states that you fingerspell the entire thing. The third one, states that you might sign the postal code or the first few letters, and then the initials. So for the states that, like New Jersey, New Hampshire, that's what I mean by initials. So I'm going to go over the states that have signs and also just a few ones that I want you to pay attention to. But you need to know the other states. So if you have a general idea of the states, you can kind of pick up on it. But make sure you know the ones that have signs. I'll go over the ones that are fingerspelled too. But know a general knowledge of the others. And there will be a list posted for you. So starting out, Alaska, start with an A. So A hand shape. So think of like a big furry coat with a hood and the fur. Alaska. Arizona, do an A, Arizona. And it's not up here, it's down here. Arizona. California, I've seen a few different movements or palm orientations for it. The one that I typically do, I do the I love you hand. Index finger touches at your ear and pull down to a Y. California, I've also seen California. So, and one of the signers, she does this, but I do this one. Colorado, I've seen 3 signs for Colorado. I've seen C-O-L-O. I've also seen this for the mountains. And then the one that I tend to do and I like more is the sign for color, D-O. think of the spelling for Colorado. No, I'm not doing the A. Some signers do. I haven't seen too many that do, but color DO or color ADO. It doesn't flow as smoothly. So Hawaii, H handshape, and it circles your face because pretty or beautiful, Hawaii, saying that Hawaii is pretty or beautiful. Maine, the sign for Maine just seems really random to me. Either Maine or Maine. Montana, I've seen with two different hand shapes. I've seen it with a modified M. I've also seen it with your four fingers out. I've seen Montana or Montana. So either of those. New York. Dominant is a Y hand shape. Non-dominant, New York. Oregon, it's an O. Oregon. Texas, do an X and draw 7, Texas. Washington, do a W, and you might see some people where they just pull it forward. Other people will kind of do like a coil or spiral. Washington. And some other ones that I wanted to point out, Missouri. The movement is a little different. You'll see MO for Missouri. Wyoming, what's different about this is the Y. So you'll do W, drop the Y, O. Wyoming. West Virginia, I've seen WVA or West Virginia. Illinois, you're doing ILL, but you might see it where the pinky stays up, so ILL. And it kind of goes forward a little bit. So just a heads up. Or I, and then throwing the L's forward for Illinois. The ones that are finger spelled, you have Idaho, Iowa, Ohio, Utah. Okay. Moving on to Canada provinces, the program has a much more extensive list. I'm going over the ones you need to know. Sign for Canada, British Columbia, BC, and with some of these signs, you'll see Canada, BC, clarifying that's what they're talking about, British Columbia. If they sign a city within a province, they might sign the city and then the province and may also add in Canada. So just a heads up. Canada, British Columbia. Ontario, do an O, palm in, and it circles. Quebec, different signers are doing different hand shapes for this sign. So do a Q hand shape. One of the signers, she does more of a modified C. One, she does more of an L. But do a Q, and you're circling towards your dominant side and back around. Quebec. Montreal. So with Montreal, you might see the sign for Montreal and then Quebec, just to show that Montreal is in Quebec. Sign for Montreal, two different ways that what's the sign is showing. One is starting up near your head, Montreal, so up here. And then the other is Montreal. So Montreal or Montreal. Alberta, A hand shapes, dominant brushes back. Alberta. And then Edmonton in Alberta, they're doing ED and then Alberta. Now going over cities. Again, much more extensive list online. I'm going over the ones you definitely need to know. Keep in mind, some signers might sign the state after the city. So make sure you know those. Go back, practice those. On this, I'm just going over the cities. Starting out, Albuquerque, you could do ALB or ALBQ. Atlanta, A handshake, Atlanta. Boston, it's a B and it bounces. I think of like the Boston Tea Party and like tea bags, water. Anyways, so Boston, Chicago, do a C, Chicago. Dallas, Fremont, I've seen it like this. One of the signers on What's the Sign, she does this more, but Fremont. Houston, by your mouth. So index finger should be tapping the side of your mouth, not on your mouth. Then we have Las Vegas. You're doing LV, but you're not doing LV. You're kind of throwing it forward. Las Vegas. Los Angeles. LA. Well, isn't that also Louisiana? Yes, but Louisiana, LA. Los Angeles, they might repeat it, but also add California after it. Louisville or Louisville, however you say it, just depending on where you are, it's an L and you shake it. New York City, you might see NYC. So modified N, drop the Y, C. Kind of like with Wyoming, WYO. So that Y drops. So NYC. You'll also see people do New York for New York City. Just depends on the signer, really. Portland, P handshake. So think of doing the movement for yes, but do a P, Portland. Or you might see Portland. Salt Lake City, SLC. San Francisco, SF. So SF, that's another one. It's not SF. They kind of throw it forward. Seattle, S handshake. There are other signs for Seattle, but this is the one that they're doing. Washington, D.C. You won't see a state after they sign this because Washington, D.C. is not in a state, in case you didn't know. So, Washington, D.C. Washington by itself, just doing that, is talking about the state. DC, that's talking about Washington, D.C. So you might see just D.C., you might see Washington, D.C. So just know the difference between state, city, Washington, and then D.C. Make sure you practice. There are a ton of cities on What's the Sign. So if you want to see if maybe they have yours, if you're in a bigger city, they might. So check it out.